Welcome to Kelly Loves K-Pop. I'm Kelly. I'm a tarot reader and K-pop fan of many years. Today we're going to do a personality reading on the EXO members. This video will be split into two parts. We're going to do 5 probably this video and then 4 on the other. Right now it's looking like Shumin, Suho, Baekhyun, and Chen are probably making this one. I'm going to try my best. This is the second time I've tried filming this because the first one it ran too long. I was trying to rush things. I wasn't happy with how the reading went. So I want to give you guys a high quality product. Let's put it that way. So I'm going to try not to rush this time. I'm going to try to take my time and, go through things as they come up. As always, tarot readings are for entertainment purposes only. These are just for fun, guys. While I do believe the things I say, they're not intended for any while I do believe the things I'm telling you, they're not intended for any libel, any slander. I'm not affiliated. I don't know these people. I've never met these people. So take everything with a grain of salt, okay? So yeah, with all that already said, let's go ahead and get to this reading. So I hope you guys are having an absolutely wonderful day. We're going to start this reading with Shumin. He is a Aries Sun, Pisces Moon. So let me go ahead and get my Aries. They're probably all on the top because, like I said, I did this reading before and the vibe wasn't right. You know what I mean? Sometimes I still get performance anxiety with cameras, or that day I don't have the amount of time I need to truly do that reading. And this is a big one, so I want it to be good. What did I do? What did I do? There he is, Aries. Aries, I should have pulled these out beforehand, but you want to look at the cards with me. These are my Astro codes. What are they called? Oh, Star Codes. Star Codes Astro Oracle is this one. I just happened to have that box over there because I was doing... Well, actually, I was filming another video that'll probably never see the light because I didn't like it. But that was for my second channel, so don't worry. That was just like a YouTube tag flip through thing. Anyway, nothing you guys care about. So let me stop rambling. All right, so if you've seen my personality readings before, I generally draw about 6 cards. So if you like this reading and you want a personality reading done on a particular member, you can make a donation on my Ko-fi page. The link is in the description. It will be single member only through those donations though, so don't go asking for the whole group unless you want to make a donation individually for each member of that group, and then by all means. But just warning you ahead of time, some people have asked for full group readings and for a minimal donation, and I will try to give you everything I can for your money, but within reason, of course. So if you have any questions at all, if anything I said is not clear, message me. Leave a message in the comments here. Privately message me on my Instagram or Twitter. Those links are in the description as well. I am happy to talk about any reading with you beforehand to make sure, you're getting what you want. And if you like personal readings, I have an Etsy shop where you can order personal readings. They're still video style just like this. They just will be private where only you have that link. So let me go ahead and finish shuffling. And with all that said, I'll probably try to put the links to each individual member reading in the description for this as well. So if you want to skip ahead to your member, you should be able to do that. Okay, so Shumin. And if I mispronounce anybody's name, correct me, please. I do my best, but it is kind of harder on the groups I'm not as familiar with. And while I do know who EXO are, I don't particularly follow them. So, oh, there we go. Got one. That was the one that wanted to flip over before, I think, too. So we got the Anima Mundi. in the light aspect, so that's good. Okay. The Temple. Let's see if I can move that over there. The Temple. The Mentor. Also, I'd like to say, sometimes I'll do a group reading like this after, you know, a year or two. Sometimes I've done a personal reading for this member in the past. Just like with everyone else, you know, we have our good days, our bad days. We have our periods in time where we're going through things that bring out the negative in us, and we're going through times that bring out the good in us. So if a personality reading conflicts with a previous personality reading, it's because people grow, people change, people's lives are different depending on where they're at in it. And sometimes if you're going through trials and you're seeing the negative aspects in yourself, you correct those things, or you work to correct those things. So I just want to put that clear, because I don't know if I've done a Shumin reading. I almost think I have, but I just don't know if it was a career reading or a personality reading. So just getting that out there. Okay. Yeah, you can see why there's no face cam today, because I feel like crap. Okay, so we have Anima Mundi in the light. Actually, a lot of this is pretty positive, so that's great for him. This is about actually manifesting things that you want. And while this reading isn't a predictive reading, it could still be saying that he's in the middle of a manifestation period. He's in the middle of creating something for himself. He's finding his inner power, and he's able to use that. He's very in tune with like his surroundings. So I don't know if in the past he's felt like the K-pop machine or the group, what's the word? Like what the group was doing may have worked against what he personally wanted for himself, but now that doesn't seem to be the case. He definitely is, his path is clear for what he wants to do and how he's going to do it. He has a very clear vision of that right now. Yeah, the Temple kind of backs that up. This is about feeling divinely guided, feeling like you know yourself, you know your path, you know your worth. And that gives you, you know, peace down to your spirit, you know. And that also, there's an aspect to it just generally being peaceful. Like maybe in the last few years, there's been a lot of controversy surrounding his group or his activities for some reason. And now it feels like maybe that's finally dying down. I know some other members getting married, having kids. That was like a whole thing. There was a lot of backlash. And maybe it finally feels like now they're in a better place and now they're not so scared. Or I don't even want to say scared. And this is talking about, and he's not so stressed out about those situations anymore. Things are calm, at least in his mind and in his soul. Things are calm. And then we have the Mentor. So again, this is, everything is like, he is focused, he is clear, he knows what he's doing. Could be he also feels like he's rejuvenated in his student abilities again, like he's learning a lot through this period. He's open, he's receptive to criticism and how to improve. It's like you know how it is when you kind of just love what you do, you know, working to improve, that doesn't feel like work. It just feels like you know, it feels like progress, it feels like growth. And that's kind of like a period he's going through right now. It's like he's getting to try things that he hasn't gotten to try before, and learn things and use that to move his career and his personal life forward. And then the Kiss. So it could be meaning relationship. The relationship he's in is going well. It could mean his relationships just with people in general are all pretty calm and well and good. You know, inclusivity is a big thing. Intimacy here. He's getting to like finally maybe see people again. Maybe people he hadn't seen in a while. You know, it could even mean like seeing fans again. If he's got a project he's working on, maybe that is also like him getting to have a fan meeting or something like that where but something about his connection to people is really strong right now, and he's leaning on that connection with people for his own personal strength and happiness. You know, it's making him happy. It's making, it's giving life purpose. It's feeling fulfilled and well loved. You know what I mean? Like he's feeling loved by people, not just giving it, but also receiving it. And then we have the gem. This one's a little bit more in a neutral position. You know, this is his gem, and it's protected by a bunch of barbs. I think if he is working on something, it could just also be, generally speaking, because this is a personality reading, that he gets torn between what people want from him and what he naturally wants to do, what he finds his personal strengths or desires. He could feel like he has to protect it a bit. Like things are peaceful right now, so maybe he could feel a little nervous that if he does come out, if he lets himself shine, that the backlash could start again. You know, it's easy to keep your peace when things are already quiet, but if he starts to make some noise, you know, kind of he peeks his head over the horizon, are there going to be more people shouting over there? So he kind of could be protecting that a little bit, protecting his peace. But it does show that there's something there. There's like this little nugget he's created that he wants to bring out. He could just be trying to, or having a back and forth with himself about how much of it he's going to show people. You know, how much of it he's going to allow to be tarnished by the world, you know? Because he knows people are cruel. So this is like something he's protecting. So there could be like a little secret he's guarding. It's almost like I feel like it's a nest with an egg. Like the egg isn't ready yet, but it's going to be ready. So it could be something like that. Like he's still polishing the stone. He's still working on it because I think he wants it to be perfect when he presents it. Like that's really the vibe I get when the more I'm looking into this card, is like it's almost ready. So there is something he's like protecting and guarding from the public, but he wants to show it. He wants to let it shine. He wants to let people see him and who he is and what he can do. So I think it definitely means he's focused on personal activities. It doesn't mean there's not EXO activity. It just means I think he's really set in like establishing like who he is as an artist and making that more prominent. And then we have the womb. So again, like all these kind of talk about like protecting something. Now this is in a more shadowy aspect. Again, but we're talking about independence here, like breaking away from where you're safe and from where your wheelhouse. It's like, again, he's almost like got something new, something he really wanted, something that sets him apart from other people that he is protective of, but also really desiring to break away and do that, kind of change people's minds about him. And it shows anxiety as well. Like, you know, just like when I was reading this card, like you could feel like there's just this anxiety when you do something new. You could also have like the backlash. But he's an Aries, so Aries are generally really, really good about like, hey, no one has seen this side of me, or this is something new that no one has done yet, and I'm just gonna keep pushing. I'm gonna put it out there. Like Aries are the first, you know, they're the first in the zodiac, and they bring that like momentum to the table. They aren't afraid to get that ball rolling. So I do think he wants to make sure it's perfect before he does something like that, but he does have some anxiety that if he tries something different, if he breaks away from the norm, people will judge him. And you know, and that's a fear he carries, but at the same time I don't think he's going to let it stop him in any way. So overall, I do think he's getting like a lot of Aries energy where he is even though he does get nervous to go against the grain, he will do it. Like, he's not going to let anything stop him if he really feels like he's called, he's guided, he understands what he wants, and he's going to do it. He's at least going to try it, and if he falls down, he falls down. If he gets, he'll get back up again, though. He's not going to let it keep him down. Like, you know, the ram will butt its head, but it will just keep going, you know. So, yeah. I think we're just seeing a really strong-minded individual who is kind of waited for the right time, but has put a lot of work into like self-growth and finding his happiness and protecting that. So it's good. I see a lot of good things for him. Okay, so now we have our boy Suho. Suho is a Gemini like me. Anyway, which side of this deck do I want to pull from? Aquarius, Scorpio, Virgo, Capricorn. I should be setting these aside, shouldn't I? Because Cancer, Leo. Excuse me. Where are you, Gemini? There we go. Okay, just real quickly, you need more. I think there's more in there. I'll get them out though later if I need them. Okay. This deck is so pretty. I love it. Okay. I'm gonna set this on top. There's Gemini over here. Hopefully it can be seen okay. Alright. So let me shuffle these some more. We got our boy Suho, the leader. Like I said, I have no idea what these boys have been up to, so if you want to inform me in the comments. Like I said, the last thing I knew was Chen was having another kid, I think. That's the last thing I knew. So, I know I see pictures of Lay popping up. I know he does a lot of, like, advertisement stuff. But I don't know if he's been releasing music this year, or I should say this year, within the last year. I don't know. Okay. Suho. I get the sense he's either in the military or just finished. He's of the age. That's not my psychic. That's not a, it doesn't take a psychic to know he's of enlistment age. He's like a 92 liner, right? I think. I want to think so. I want to think so. Okay. Oops, that river card came out again. I'm telling you, I say it all the time, but if that card wants to come out, me reshuffling it back in ain't gonna stop it. Okay. So we have the King. No surprise. Leadership for the leader. Can't make this stuff up. I don't know if you guys can see. That is literally one of the main aspects of this card. You know, and just saying that he still looks at himself in that position. He enjoys it. He feels comfortable there. You know, it has become a personality trait to be the leader. It just hit me. He's not actually the leader. Wait a second. Is Suho the leader, or he's just the leader of... It just hit me. Okay. Like I said, please understand, I am not an XOL. I hear things, and then sometimes it takes me till now to put them together. He is the leader of the Korean, like, portion of the group, right? Like, Lay was the leader of the, like, EXO M, right? If I'm not mistaken. If I'm mistaken, please, please correct me. But Suho is giving major leader energy. Like, I was already, like, pretty comfortable thinking he was a leader, and then the cards are telling me that, so please tell me if that's not correct, but I'm willing to bet it is. So if he's not the de facto leader, he is pretty much the acting leader of the group, right? So yeah, I mean, that's how he views himself. If he doesn't carry that title, he himself probably feels like that. That he's the acting leader of that group. Then we have the River in a neutral position. A lot of times the River to me is how you connect with your emotions and how you deal with them. How do you cope? How do you get across them? You know, from one side to the other. How do you deal with them? And this says he has some problems coping with certain emotions. He can be a little maybe oversensitive sometimes. Even if he doesn't say things like out loud, oh, hey, you hurt my feelings, he could probably internalize a lot of what people say. And it could be with what's going on with EXO. He might feel responsible for any negativity or any mistreatment of any members. He could personally feel like is his fault for not speaking up more or not understanding situations more. It could be like that. It does feel like he has like his emotions compartmentalized a bit, and he doesn't always know when it's the right time to speak up, and when he needs to just kind of go into protection mode. I feel like SM, the company, teaches them to just apologize. Whatever it is, just apologize, move on. Apologize, move on. Just whether it's true or not, public says it's going to be true, just deal with it. The faster you apologize and move on, the sooner people forget about it. Instead, the more you fight it, the more prolonged that goes. So I think he feels like there are things he should have spoken up about, but maybe he felt like it would cause more problems for everyone else if he did. You know what I mean? So I do think he has some kind of like regrets looking back. There's something where he feels like he's made some wrong decisions, and he has like kind of guilt and regrets that kind of, right now it could be that that's at the surface for him, that he's trying to learn from or accept or work through some of that. Or something could have recently come to light where he's rethinking and reevaluating how he acted in certain situations. So it's kind of like emotions are kind of coming up for him that he's not always prepared in how to deal with. So that can make him a little sensitive. You know, almost like he reacts to things that aren't the problem because he doesn't know how to fix the problem. I think we've dealt with people like that. And then we have the thread kind of in the light aspect. I always stumble over that. Maybe I just need to stop saying light and shadow, and I can just talk about it instead of having to stop and stutter all the time. Okay, so this talks about being bonded, being connected, having strong relationships with people. So I think even people, I want to say he's that type of person, if you haven't spoken with him in a long time and then you suddenly come back and you see him, he will pick things up like no time has passed. He knows how to kind of work his connections with people, and not always in a negative way. Like, it could just be like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in 10 years. You went abroad, now you're back, whatever. Let's pick things back up. But also it works for him in his business sense because he probably has a good memory of someone like hey, last time I saw you, you were off getting married. How is that going for you? Like, he just like has those like little connections with people, and he makes it a point to like kind of remember that. That's just how he is. Naturally, I think it's very commonly a Gemini thing to like be kind of wide and varied in your interest and very adaptable. So he has like a lot of different, he probably has friend groups for different things he's into. He has like probably his idol friend group, and then he probably has you know, if he has a hobby that's like cars, he'll have that friend group. If he has another hobby that's like movies, he'll have like that friend group. He's like, I think he just has a bunch of friends, but also like different threads, you know what I mean, like different connections, and they don't always like just mix. Like some people just have a very big friend group where they're all friends with each other, and I think his relationships are more individual than that. But he is really, really good at remembering people and keeping those connections. And then we have the Vision, and the Vision is kind of in shadow right now. So even though he views himself the leader, we're seeing like strict, paranoid things that I told you I felt with this River card, kind of coming up here, where he feels like he's at a loss in how to proceed. Again, he might feel like he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. There's things going on that have happened that I think he doesn't agree with, but he's scared to rock the boat any further. And again, a company like SM, allegedly for entertainment purposes only. Let me be clear again. I don't work for SM. I don't know anybody at SM. This is for entertainment. But from what I've understood about the company, you know, one hand washes the other there. You kind of have to go along and get along to get things. And the more, well, honestly, I won't even say this is just M, because I feel like JYP has been showing this too. If you don't go along with what the company wants, you'll get less and less opportunities, right? So he could feel like not only if he speaks up or if he becomes a nuisance that it will affect him, but he may feel it will affect the entire group. So he's having to kind of fit into the cookie cutter image the company expects of him to make sure that opportunities don't get passed on to other people and other groups and that kind of thing. I mean, he could feel like that's already happening due to like public reception recently. So he could be a little worried that now is not the time for him to speak up on any injustice or things he may feel upset about, or even just publicly be seen with certain people. It could be just any number of things like that, where he just feels like he's boxed in, he's very heavily restricted, and what he does affects more than just him. You know, it's right here with that leadership card. So he does seem like he's a little foggy on like what's his next step. He does feel like he's a little lost in the sauce right now. Like he's taking a time of like reflection almost to figure out what's the next best step. So it's good. You know, we have the Orphan, and the Orphan's kind of in the light. I said I was going to stop doing that. Orphan's very much in the positive. To me, Orphan also talks about found family. People that are not your blood, but you have built relationships and familial ties to the people that are thicker than that are stronger than that. And yeah, I do think he has some people around him. I mean, I'd love to say it's EXO, but it could be you know, some of them, some other people, but he definitely has a found family around him that he you know, that he loves dearly, that are very, very important to him. I do know he comes from like a fairly well-off family, and it could be another aspect where he feels kind of boxed in, and then he has a separate family of found friends that know the real him. And he kind of can't show that to everyone. But with this group of friends, he does have a place where he can be himself completely and not feel any backlash, which is really good and really healthy. I like seeing that for idols, that they have a place where they can just be themselves. And then it's like the offering a gift. It's like this is a group of people he's the most like generous with, the most giving with. Yeah, so I think if you feel or if you hear about him, people he tends to give gifts to, people he goes out of his way for, like those are people he views like as his family. That'll be like an insight to who it is in his inner circle. That's his kind of ride or die. Like again, we have like relationships and bonds with like a lot of people, but he does have a very specific inner circle that's like those are those people that he would do absolutely anything for, and that see him as who he truly is, and he can trust them, and it kind of finally like relax. He can let his hair down and take his shoes off and like just not worry about idol shit. If I'm truly honest, it's like he has that specific group of people that he doesn't have to be perfect around. And again, we have the kiss again upright. So this is also about having those super intimate relationships with some people. Again, very caring, nurturing. We'll see how much this comes up. It could be alluding to, again, more fan engagement. It could be separate for each one of them. It could talk about personal relationships. Let me hold it better and more in the center for you guys. It could be speaking of that. Also kind of feel like it could speak to like duet. I don't know how much solo activity he gets, but it's almost like something he does with one other person. Could be more public. It's kind of the vibe I'm getting is like almost like something coming out of the shadows. I don't think he would announce a relationship right now, but it could be something like that, like a duet or some kind of project unit, something with somebody else. It seems like there's some kind of connection there that's going to come to the surface. Almost like one person like leading the other. So he's got like this sweet caretaker vibe about him, but not everyone is going to see that. He can feel really pressured to be like that perfect idol that everyone expects. So he has to like heavily guard who sees like the real him. But he does have a place for that. He does have friends for that. So he does get that outlet at least. But yeah, it seems like emotionally he's pretty boxed up. He has some regrets that have been like eating at him. So he hopefully is working through that. Hopefully he's in a transitional place right now. So let's go ahead and look into Lay. Other leader. Again, I don't know if he's the de facto leader or he's the EXO-M leader. If someone knows how that works, please explain it to me, because I get lost between those two. Because it's like, I know Lay's the leader, but then the minute I think of Suho, my brain is like, oh no, he's the leader. And now I've confused myself. So Libra. I just saw you, Libra. Lay being a Libra always feels kind of weird to me. Like, I don't know what his rising or moon signs are, but I always feel like he has really earth sign energy. But, because Libras are like, I don't know. I don't want to say anything negative because obviously Libras have a lot of influence depending on their environments. But I feel like Libras are a little bit more all over the place. Libras kind of try and do a bunch of different things. And like usually they're really like a jack of all trades kind of person. And Lay feels like really kind of... He could also have Leo. He has like that super dramatic Leo kind of vibe too. But I always feel like earth sign when I think of him. Wait, what was his? Oh yeah, he's the only one I don't. Oh, he's supposed to be a double Libra. A Libra moon as well. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see in their reading if he's also the type that likes to hide his nature, because he just seems a little more self-driven. Like, I feel like Libras are not usually like solo people. They really want to be in a group. Like, they thrive in a group setting. And I know a lot of Lay's solo stuff probably isn't like his first choice, but he's making the best out of his situation. And I'm sure there was some want for solo stuff, but I know he wanted to, him having less activity with the group is probably not his personal choice, you know. I know, what was it, Can't Stop the Feeling? Wasn't he in that video? It's like he was in the video, but he couldn't promote, something like that. I know there's always a thing with Lay where he's like there, but he's not there. So I don't know. I need this scoop. I'm so behind on EXO stuff. All right. Lay's probably gonna break my brain now trying to accept him as this double Libra. I'm like, did I write that down wrong? Is he really truly a double Libra? Did I get that right? Am I being lied to? I don't know, but something feels off there. Something don't feel right with that. Okay. The self. We were just talking about that. About being kind of seeing him as a really self-motivated person, a really independent person, right? But yeah, he's a very vigilant, like, what's the word? He's very, not just aware, but like vigilant. Like, he is really mindful, watchful. Like, he's that person that you think didn't notice what's going on in the, you know, on the other side of the room, but he does. He purposely acts like he doesn't, but he knows a lot. Like, he may play dumb for a lot of situations. Not in like stupid, but like he may pretend he doesn't know like what's going on with companies or other members or things. He may say he doesn't, but he does. Like, even if that, sometimes saying nothing is still saying something, right? Like, he's very, very perceptive. There we go. He's very perceptive. People think he doesn't catch on to stuff. People may think he doesn't see what's going on the internet or something like that, but he does. He does. He's always kind of keeping a watchful eye on like what's going on about his business, about his career, about his friends. He definitely does. You think he doesn't see it, but he does. You may think he doesn't see the support he gets, he does. You may think he doesn't see the shade he gets, he does. So, like, he sees it all. Like, he's very, very aware. But he's that person that will take negative things or hard lessons and learn from them. Like, he doesn't make the same mistake twice. You know, it's like a pearl. It's like this grit, this sand that gets inside this oyster, you know, that's an irritation. And over years, they actually turn it into something beautiful and valuable. They take that hard lesson and they make something amazing out of what they've learned. And he's been doing that. You know, he's been taking his grit and sand and making a pearl. He's been taking that pressure and making a diamond. Like, every negative thing he gets from people, he uses that to make him stronger. So he even, he's really good at turning negativity to motivation, which is wonderful. I think that's the type of personality you want in a performer or an entertainer, because you're going to get negative comments. Like, you're just going to. And if you don't know how to process them, you either have to stop looking at them or do this and use them as a motivation to do more or to be better or to improve yourself. You know, he's definitely that. This is a dead end, but this is like, he doesn't cry over spilled milk. This is like, he doesn't sit there and let himself think too much on like what could have been. He puts himself very presently in the moment, and and will immediately say, okay, well, what's next? He's looking, again, he's taking kind of bad situations or less hard lessons he's learned and using that as motivation to do the next step even better. He is cautious. He is mindful. He's not trying to upset people. He's not, I mean, although I do think he has songs where he's like telling people off, you know, saying how he truly feels. But he also, I think, tries to do it in a safe way, that like a publicly accepted way. He's not going to sit there and pick fights or sit there and talk about individual comments. I mean, he might in a general sense, but I don't think he's doing it. He's not giving those people their time in the sun. Like, he's not going to let himself and his popularity get used by those people. You know, again, this is about, this is definitely about setting up boundaries, you know, again, learning lessons and making sure those things don't happen again. So it also feels like he could have felt like he was used by some people in the past, that he worked with either some people with shady contracts, shady dealings, and he's learned and he's moved on. You know, this hand is like, stop, that part is done, your part is done. But he's also going to launch off of that into something new and good for him. And then we have the Medallion. Again, this is just about having really honorable intentions, just wanting the best for people. And it can mean like earning awards, people seeing that part and that good in you, seeing that you are working hard not only to improve your space, but really to shed that light for everyone around you too. Also having clear goals. I think he has very clear goals. Very, again, I feel like a very earth sign, like have a plan, have a 5-year plan, work the plan. Like he feels like that in my brain. Like, and the cards that's what the cards are giving me too. But also protective. Like, so, he's worked really hard to build this, and he will protect what he's made. He will protect himself. He will protect, you know, he has his clear boundaries. He has this moving on from bad situations to put himself in better situations. So, yeah, he's gonna be very protective of that, but he's moving on and doing things in the most, I want to say the most gracious way possible, the way I need more coffee. He's doing it in a way that he feels is good for everyone. Like, I feel like he is trying to leave certain doors open for certain people and shutting doors on people that are bad for him. You know, like that handout, kind of just waiting for someone to take it. It's kind of also what I'm getting, is he's like, I built this, I've done this, and he's left that doorway open for certain people if they want to share that with him, or that he can pass back through. Like, very like, I've done this for myself, but I've also done this for us. So then I have the Village in the shadow. So the village, I mean, it talks about being unable to be part of a group, just straight up. It very talks about you having to leave your village. So it could feel like he feels like he's not where he's supposed to be. Even though he's trying to make the best out of that situation, he doesn't feel like he's where he should be. And it could be partially that he feels like he's not taken seriously by certain people, and he feels like he should be. He should be treated more respectfully than he is. It could mean that also just he's not allowed to be a part of his group, just flat out. It could just feel like he's being outcast from his group, not by the members, obviously, or at least maybe not by all the members, but by circumstance. So it's like it could be because he's keeping this door open, he feels like he's never fully planted in one place. And it could be that too, because he has to travel and because he's always trying to go back and forth. He could feel like he never gets to put down roots. And that could make him feel kind of not seen in the way he wants to be seen. But I also feel like it puts him in this weird space where in China, they're like, you're a K-pop idol. And in Korea, they're like, you're a Chinese idol. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he could feel like he never gets to be enough for people. But this card, I think, talks about the complicated nature of, like, all of those things and how they make him feel kind of alone. And how he doesn't feel like he has his people. So, or that people will just always look at him a little different when he feels like he should be accepted. You know, there's like a feeling of like people talking about him. Like he just feels like people are always talking about him. And not always in a good way. So then we have Apocalypsis. And this is, again, it's being a mentor. It's telling the truth. He may try to do it in a kindest way he can, but I do think he doesn't lie to people. He's not trying to make people feel better about themselves if they're not treating him in a respectful manner. He will just be blunt. But if he sees that you're also a good person and a person that works hard, he is happy to help those people. He likes being a mentor. I don't know if he's been a mentor on shows. I feel like he has. He's really good with that. I think he really enjoys stuff like that. Getting to train the next generation. I think he has a lot of experience that he thinks is helpful to people. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the type that eventually like writes a book about his experience to help other people coming up in the industry, that kind of thing, or just people that are interested in his life. And if they can learn from it, he definitely feels like that person. Like he's going to share what he's learned with people in every chance he gets. So he just seems like a really kind-hearted person. We have the Flame in reverse. I feel like this has a lot to do with that Village card. He does have resentments. Like, even though he's kind and he moves on, he knows that's not like a healthy place to be. But I do think there's a part of him that I won't say he's seeking revenge, because he is above that. But there's a part of him that just like hopes certain people get their comeuppance. Like he's just kind of waiting to see some people fall for the things that they've done. He doesn't like the aspect of himself that he will enjoy that. But there's like once you've wronged me, you don't get another chance. I will cut you out, and that's it. You get one chance to do right by me, or him. He gives one chance to do right by him, and if you don't do that, you're done. He does not. He has a long memory and does not give very many second chances. So yeah, you burn him, that's it. He'll burn you back. Again, he's not going to go out of his way to get vengeance, but he will enjoy it if people will get there. You know, people will always get what they deserve, so he'll be like one of those like watching and waiting to see when that happens, and when it does, he will have a party. You know, that you are not invited to. But yeah, he's got just that little bit of spice to him where don't get on his bad side. Again, he's not going to probably embarrass you publicly, but he will like tell the truth. If you were bad at your job, he's going to tell people when they ask him, you know, this person, you know, doesn't work for me anymore because they were terrible at said thing. He is true about that. Don't take him. Don't try to take advantage of him. He is not the person. He's not the one. I'll put it that way. So that's what I have for Lay. Okay. Let's see. Next up is Bacon. Bacon. That's all I remember is Super M. And he's like, you can call me Bacon. And I'm like, why would you say that, Bacon? I'm like, I get it. It was. Have you seen the TikTok meme where it's like, it's a good joke, but I'm gonna need you to stop? That was my reaction. That meme didn't exist yet, but that was how I felt. It was like, sir, it's funny, but don't tell people to do that because they will. Because they're gonna do it now. And you'll wish you didn't. So every time I see Bacon, I think of Bacon. A Taurus. Now he is one that the minute I saw he was a Taurus, I was like, yes, that suits. That tracks. That sounds like him. Especially when I listen to his music. I haven't listened to like every release he's ever had, but I know he kind of does like the chill R&B vibe, which I really like. And that feels very Taurus. Very Venusian. Like love and luxury, you know, that kind of stuff. Like his songs feel like that's what they're about. So, he's also got a gem moon, which is interesting. I feel like that is kind of conflicting a little bit because that means he will overthink relationships. Like talk himself out of things he deserves sometimes. Allegedly for entertainment purposes only. But yeah, I think he will talk himself out of things that are meant for him because he overthinks it or feels like I don't know. It's like he can just get in his head too much. Okay. Back in. These two are really interesting because he's supportive, but he's also very competitive. Yeah, he's got both of these. Okay, let me start from the beginning. But this line is a lot. I want to say he is way more introverted, I think, than people expect. I mean, maybe it's an XOL thing to know that he's introverted, but I feel like he is an introvert. That he is an introvert, but tries to play it off like he's not. I feel like he doesn't have a lot of friends. Like, I just feel like he likes people, but I think he always gets too scared to fully involve himself, you know, with people. And I don't know if it's just from a past experience where he's been hurt, or he just doesn't quite know how. Like, just kind of a low effort thing. You know, that person that picks up the phone when you call but doesn't ever call you. Like, I kind of get that vibe from him. Like, yeah, he's your friend, but he doesn't put the effort in. Maybe just because being who he is, he's never had to. People come to him probably really easily. But yeah, he can have this like air of like mystery, or just like he keeps his distance. He's like aloof. Aloof is the word I want. Kind of. It's a lot of work to be close to him. This one's a little bit of a neutral position for the prayer. Well, it can be kind of religious. To me, it's speaking more about not knowing how to ask for help. I don't want to say suffering in silence, but kind of. It's kind of like, I'll do it on my own. I don't want to bother anybody, you know? But it's usually detrimental for him to do this. Like, it's almost like a self-sabotage thing. He's like, oh, I don't want to be a bother. I don't want to ask anybody for help. But he really needed it. You know, it's like there are some things that are just out of his grasp, where if he asked for a little bit of help, or worked those connections a little tighter, he could have even more. I think he feels grateful for what he has, but he could have more if he spoke up or asked people to help him. And it could be that he could feel like he has enough. I mean, again, he feels like he talks himself out of things, like he feels undeserving, but he is. Like, he should have more. He should feel like he's worth more. It's like he undervalues himself. This is the animal. So it kind of talks about following instincts. Like, he has really good instincts. You know, I think, again, when it comes to what he creates, music or like his image, visual image, or like, if he doesn't like a person, I wouldn't like that person. I don't feel like to the same aspect of like Lay, where Lay like really understands people, but I feel like he's like vibes. Like, he's like, I don't like their vibe. And he's kind of, he's got like a sixth sense about people, or just like what's good for him. You know, it's like he just is one of those people that follows his gut. You know, sometimes it works against him too, but it feels like he just kind of does what he feels called to do and doesn't do what he doesn't feel motivated to. It's like he kind of just, I don't know, like he feels like he just drifts along in his space. You know, some people have like a super clear path, and then again, they're very organized and they work really directly. He feels like he's just like, I get in where I fit in, it kind of deal. Like, he's just trying not to expect too much, but in the same time, he knows himself well enough to know what he's good at and what he can bring to the table when he gets those opportunities. It's kind of like that. Maybe he used to be more strict and rigid, but he's learned to just go with the flow. Like, that's very the vibe I get, is going with the flow. Now, these two cards talk about kind of being the dad friend, kind kind of being someone that people come to for advice. Again, he's the guy that picks up the phone when you call, but he maybe doesn't call you. But I think he's always like that friend, like, hey, we need a third for a sports team thing, or we need, you know, hey, friend, I'm writing a song, I need some opinions on it. Like, he is kind of that friend, and he will boost people up. He will hype his friends up with nothing but kindness. It really feels like he's got that like warm personality when you say, hey, I need some help, or I need your ear for something. He's that guy. But underneath that, he's very competitive. Like, he doesn't try to say it. Again, he may feel like that's not the kindest thing, but it's like, okay, you did that. It was really cool. I did really like that song you made. Now I have to do something that I think is even cooler, you know? Or it's like, I don't know. It's like he does use, like, that is kind of his motivation sometimes to like outdo his friends, to you know, or maybe just if it is a sports game, he is very competitive. You don't think he would be, and then he shows up and he like fights like hell. And again, I don't think he would make it in this business if he wasn't somewhat competitive, so that's good. But he's almost like unassuming, unsuspecting. You wouldn't think he's a competitive one, but he is. Again, is probably why he's such a good vocalist, is that you don't think he's, you know, he probably comes off really low key, but he's actually rehearsing, practicing, honing his gift like a lot. Like, he wants to be the best. But he also isn't out here like showing it off unless that's the point, you know, unless it's his music or his performance or whatever. So I kind of get that. Okay, so yeah, so let me go ahead. This is why we're splitting up the readings. We're going to do Chen, and Chen's going to be the last reading for this one. Chen is a Virgo. I think that one's at the end here. Was anyway, or not. There we go. Virgo. Okay, Chen. Hopefully it doesn't break off. There's so many members of this group. Although it's not like 17 who had to break off into 3 videos, which was fun. Okay. Also, this is probably why I like groups like EXO. I don't know that much because I'm so intimidated by that many members in a group. Okay. So we got a Virgo and a Cancer. Whew. He is, you won't win the argument, but you'll also hurt his feelings at the same time. He's soft, but he won't tell you that he's soft. He'll fight like hell just to win an argument. And one thing I know about Virgos is don't ask them to apologize, because you were wrong. No matter what, it was your fault. I love them, but yeah. That peel gets dug down and you're SOL, friend. All right, so Chen, let's go. Okay. Oh, it does seem like he's got a sweet side. Okay. So Virgo is that kind of caretaker provider. A lot of people will, you know, play to the virginal whatever aspects, but Virgo is the harvest. Virgo is the time of the harvest. Virgo is the great provider, the great nurturer. So there is that. They love being needed. They are give you the shirt off their back kind of people, as we say, salt of the earth. So we have the Mirror. Again, this is another one that is going to tell you the truth, is going to work hard to solve problems. They're not about lip service. If they see something that needs to get done, they're generally we're just going to go over and hop over and do it. Instead of like trying to harness, like maybe they're not the best in a leadership role because they tend to just do everything themselves. And they're like, you're going to mess it up, just let me do it. But they are going to be completely honest with you. They're great people if you need advice or a critical opinion. They're very critically thinking, very detail oriented. So yeah, if you're trying to finalize a project or something like that, they are great people to ask. He is a great person to ask. Also, it's a mirror. He's going to kind of give you what you give him. If you're not the type of friend who's too busy for him all the time, he will just be too busy for you. Like I want to say he's got like a little bit of a petty streak where just, instead of just saying it directly, he's going to indirectly show you that he's not happy with the situation. He may not be great at being direct in those kind of aspects. If you ask them, they will give it to you. But if you don't, they're just going to show you. Right? Going to show you how you made them feel. Then you have the Castle in a neutral position. Again, I think this speaks to, I think this really speaks to the Mirror too, saying he can be kind of both like, into his own personal interest and part of wanting to be a part of the group. Like, I think it's no mistake he's one with a lot of like solo work, because he's kind of happy either way. Like, he likes being a part of the group, especially with this village. He likes being a part of the group, but if the group is too busy or everybody's indisposed doing their own thing, he will just go into solo mode. He just goes into self-management mode, and he's fine with that. Like, he doesn't get really his feelings hurt if things, in the group situation are not conducive for them to be together. He's just like, okay, I'm going to do my own thing. And he's very good at going off and doing his own thing. Again, meeting with that same energy. If other people are too busy, he's going to be busy doing his own thing. And I think that's what he is. He just keeps he keeps it moving, right? He's just going to keep going forward with or without you. And he's okay with that. He doesn't let that become an obstacle. We have the Desert, mostly in the light. Again, he can be kind of quiet. I feel like he's similar to Beckon, where he doesn't always call out for help when he needs it. Where Beckon may be more aware in when he needs help. I also think Chen puts too much onto himself at one time. He usually can find some kind of unique way to get things done. Somehow it's only he can manage it. But he puts too much on his plate, and he doesn't reach out for help like he should. And this could also be an aspect to some of the hate he's getting, where he feels like he's stuck out alone and is having to suffer like his penance. So I do hope he reaches out and he's not just like, well, it is what it is. Like, it feels like he could, instead of feeling like if no one's reaching out to him, he shouldn't reach out to them. I think it is a time where he needs to reach out either to members or company or somebody, or other idols to like work with to stay active and not feel like he's being punished and he just needs to stay out, you know, to dry, you know. He's kind of suffering in silence, I think, when he doesn't have to, especially because, you know, he didn't do anything wrong. So yeah, the village, this is one of those, like, he operates in both the group and solo setting very well, but he does like being in a group setting. Like, he likes feeling useful. He likes helping people and wanting to be needed. Like, he really truly shines when he feels like he's like got his role and that helps everyone. You know, that feeds his ego in the good way. He doesn't let the group not being active stop him in any way, but I do think he prefers that. He prefers being in a group. He prefers having a large friend group. I do think he has a large friend group. They may not be idols. They may be like school friends and things like that. But I do think he has a really large group of people that he deals with. I think he's very social. People forget Virgo is also ruled by Mercury, which is the same planet that rules Gemini. So Virgos are very social creatures. So catching him, I mean, maybe now that he's got 2 babies, he's at home a little bit more. But I think before that, you would have caught him out and about with people all the time. I doubt he was home alone very much. So then we have the heart. So again, I think this speaks to him being kind of a family man, liking that aspect. Probably was always a goal for him to start a family. Maybe not at the time he started it, but I think he always saw himself in that role. I think he's just a romantic at heart. I think even his music, you can see that. And he's kind of a gentle soul when he feels like vulnerable and accepted and in his safe space. You know, he is again, preferring to be part of that group, preferring to be part of that family unit. Like, I think he's very comfortable there. He likes it. And it just feels very, like, it makes him feel complete. Like, you see that it's like kind of this nest again, and it's almost like, that pearl, I think for a bit, we saw like the gem. This is like guarding that pearl, guarding that little unit, that family unit. So it could be why, like, he feels like, well, I don't have to reach out because I have something that still makes me happy. I don't think he's gonna lose any of his career, but I do think he maybe feels like he doesn't have to focus on that because he has something at home that he is giving him, you know, fulfillment, is making him feel like he's wanted and loved and needed. So I do think he's happy there. And then we have a gape. And this kind of goes back and forth. It's more in the aspect of unconditional love. But it's like it does have limits. So he is the type of person, I think, can be slightly blinded by love too. Can haul himself utterly and completely, I think, to the detriment of other things. But if he feels like he's not getting it back at any point, that's where the problem's going to be. That's where the fights are going to start for him. Because, again, he can be kind of sensitive. If he feels like he's putting in effort and it's not being met, or he feels like he's doing more than his fair share. It's like this whole like being part of the group, but if the group is not responding, I will go off. It's very that, like, he's there for this. He wants his perfect family, but I think he is the type that there may be struggles there if he ever feels like he's taken for granted. I think he would be the type that maybe he doesn't speak up about it directly, but he is the type of person that he can just not be home if he doesn't want to. He may be one of the people that shows how he feels more than he says how he feels. So he will have to be careful about that because, you know, he's in an agreement. He's in an agreement that will be hard for him to leave if he, but that usually is something I don't really like getting into, but since he's made it public, I feel like I can talk a little bit about it. But yeah, he just definitely needs to make sure he communicates with people. He needs to be open and communication needs to happen. He can't kind of just flip his switch from group mentality or familial mentality to solo mentality whenever he feels like he's not getting met with the right energy. I mean, he certainly can, but it's going to cause him problems, and I don't know if he wants those problems. If he does, hey, that's his life. But yeah, I'm just here talking about his personality. So yeah, that's just what I think. That's just one of the pitfalls of him is like he's not good at asking for help, and he probably needs to work on that. But we're all works in progress, so I'm not here to beat him up. You know, sometimes personality readings aren't always positive, but as human beings, we're not all positive. So that's what I got for today. Next video, I'm going to do Chanyeol, Dio, Kai, and Sehun. Sehun? I think it's Sehun, right? So we're going to go ahead and do those in the next video. So thank you for sticking around. Be sure to check for part 2. Once it's done, I'll put the link in the description of this. And I hope you guys are having a great day. I'll see you guys really soon. Bye.